Introducing the brand new 2008 Mini Cooper S to the channel here. What's up everybody, Super WRX fan here for Mini Weekly Update number 7 on this Friday. So what's new with the Mini? Well, not really much. I put 1,000 miles on it in the past week though, because I drove to Virginia to film that STI review, and a lot of you guys had really good feedback from it. I really appreciate it, and a lot of people were asking, you know, whether I prefer that car's handling over the Evo's handling, and some stuff like that. And I just follow up real quickly because I had a few thoughts after I filmed that video that I didn't really get a chance to tell you in the video. And the first thing is, the Evo feels like it's lighter on its feet still slightly, but I think that the STI's handling is still actually a little bit better finally, which is a first because normally the Evo was always better. And the other thing is that, you know, I'm still thinking about, is it worth the extra price over at WRX? And I think that it is. I actually want the STI version if I were to go the WRX route. Why? Because the seats, the heavy hydraulic steering rack instead of the electric steering in the WRX, and I still love the Voxer rumble, and I like the traditional sound of the STI. I mean, yes, I wish that, you know, the WRX had, you know, I wish I had better fuel economy, you know, in the STI. The WRX has the brand new engine with a great fuel economy, but aside from, you know, the crappy fuel economy in the STI, if money were no object, I would totally do an STI. Like I said, WRX is still a great choice, still lots of fun, but if I had my pick, it would definitely be an STI for sure. Anyway, talking about the Mini, this is a Mini Weekly Update. One quick thing I wanted to just mention is, you know, I've noticed the more and more that I drive this car, how much I love the two modes. So there's a sport mode here, which I didn't really get into a whole lot yet, and, you know, the way the car drives standard, the throttle response is a little slow, and the steering weight is fairly heavy, but it's a little lighter than, you know, like a sports car would be. It's lighter than it was in the BRZ, but you hit this sport mode, and the whole car just feels like it comes alive. Like the throttle response is quicker, and it's more eager to accelerate. The steering gets a little heavier, and I think that's the best thing for a sport mode to do. So many sport modes are too complicated, or they don't really do anything at all. This one's just right. You know, it's serious. You put it in sport mode, sometimes it's a little too sharp. That's why I don't always drive in sport mode in traffic and stuff. I don't want sport mode. I think, you know, you can drive smoother when you're not in sport mode. So I liked having those two modes. It's a really cool thing, and I kind of wish, you know, the BRZ's sport mode, all it did is just let you hang the tail out a little bit more. Throttle response and everything was the same, and I actually liked the sport mode in this better than the BRZ. Another thing I kind of have grown to like better than the BRZ is it's nice to finally have passing power, and it's nice to be able to merge onto the highway with confidence. In the BRZ, if you weren't in like a super low gear, you know, you had no power, and there were times where I was on the highway and I'm like, come on, and then, you know, finally got into the higher RPM ranges and would pull away from people, but I'd feel like an idiot half the time while I'm like struggling to, you know, catch up to a Camry. Whereas this, I mean, it's like the Legacy, where I can just merge onto a highway, just, you know, just point and shoot, and boom, it just gets there, and this thing's got some guts. I really love it. So, yeah, that's it for all the Mini updates, guys. So send it back to me at the news desk for this week's news. Right, so for this week's news, first thing is some more information about the 2015 Ford Mustang, and first is that we finally have prices along with the configurator and some information about the actual weight of this car. So, first, price. The base price for the V6 is $23,600, so it's maintained a pretty low starting price, but you can't even get a V6 Premium anymore. The V6 is just like the base, bottom, bare bones, and that's it. If you want somewhat of a nice Mustang, you have to go with EcoBoost, which starts out at $25,170, and then if you want the Premium, that's $29,000. If you want to just go for the GT, which is the one everyone wants, the V8 is $32,100. And if you want the Premium, that's $36,100. So it's about a $1,000 increase across the board versus last year's model, which is a reasonable price to pay for a, you know, nicer car. So obviously there's more safety features now and all that kind of stuff too. So I feel like that's a pretty reasonable price increase. Other information here is talking about the weight of the Mustang. So, you know, there was all these rumors back and forth about how much weight this car has actually gained, and there's a leaked dealer manual that has apparently it has all the different specs for how much each car weighs. And the V6 is 3,526 pounds. The EcoBoost is 3,517 pounds, so it's a little bit lighter. And then the GT with the V8 is 3,704 pounds. So you save about 200 pounds by going with the EcoBoost, which is pretty cool. Other Mustang news is they also spied a new SVT version that's been running around, and you can tell it's the SVT because it has a big domed hood they're trying to keep under wraps, but they're doing a bad job of it because you can just clearly tell there's something really ferocious going on under the hood of that car, and they've covered everything up. I mean, even the exhaust pipes are like masked and there's like a grate over them so they can still emit gases, but you can't really even tell how many exhaust pipes there are. Wheels are covered, you can't see any information about brakes or anything. So all we know is it's going to look a lot more aggressive, and apparently they still are saying they're just calling it the Mustang, or the GT350 is all they're calling it, simply GT350. That's what they're going to name it apparently. We'll see if that's official or not, but good to see that they're working on that, probably for the 2016 model year. Other awesome Ford news is this came as a bit of a surprise, I think, to everyone this past week, and that's that the Ford Focus RS Mule was spotted here in the U.S. So unless this is just an updated ST that looks a lot more aggressive or something, but based on everything, I mean, I'm pretty sure this is the RS model. It has a different exhaust setup that's completely different than what you see on the ST. I mean, the front fascia and everything is a lot more aggressive, and it definitely looks like a meteor car. So pretty sure that is the RS version, and hopefully it will be coming here to the US. They're thinking it would have the same 2.3 liter EcoBoost turbo motor out of the the one that's going to be in the new Mustang here. So we're looking for something north of 300 horsepower, probably looking at maybe 330 or something possibly. So that'll be really sweet to see. You know, if they're going to do all-wheel drive with that or front-wheel drive, obviously that's something we don't know yet. But hopefully it'll be all-wheel drive, 330 horsepower, and give the STI a run for its money. Next is McLaren confirmed that they're doing a track-focused version of the P1. It's going to be called the P1 GTR, and it's going to be kind of like the Ferrari FXX and those kind of cars, the LaFerrari XX and all that kind of stuff, where it's just only for the track, not road legal or anything. But this one, it's going to be pretty insane. They're probably just going to sell it to existing P1 customers or something like that. But they're saying that it would actually have more horsepower, 83 horsepower over the standard stock car, which wasn't a slow car to begin with. So we're looking at nearly 1,000 horsepower now for this P1 GTR. And they're saying that it'll probably cost roughly $3.35 million for each one of these. So pretty insane amount of money, but that's going to be an insane car for sure. So insane money for an insane car. Another insane car is Ferrari built a one-off hybrid F12 TRS Roadster, they're calling it. So basically, they took obviously an F12 and hacked the roof off of it, and this, there's a very limited amount of, the Ferrari 599s that went topless for a few people that wanted them, but this one, on top of just doing that, also has a hybrid carriage system similar to the one in the LaFerrari, and no word as to who bought this car and who commissioned Ferrari to do this, but apparently it cost $4.2 million to get this car built. So not an insignificant amount of money, and but hey, you have the only one out there, and I think it looks really cool too with the little adjustments they've made to it. So yeah, maybe we'll get something close to that for an F12 GTO here in the future. Other good news is Michael Schumacher finally came out of his coma that he was in. Several months ago, probably almost 6 months ago, I reported about how, obviously he was in a skiing accident and was in a coma, and really was not looking good for him for a while, but it looks like he's finally making some good progress here, and he's come out of his coma, which is very good to hear, great news, and I mean, he has a long road to recovery, I'm sure, but it's good to see that he is making some steps towards a recovery. So all the best to him and his family, and hopefully we see him racing around here at some points again. So yeah, next bit of news here is BMW and Mini are working together for GoPro integration. So basically now with the new version of the Mini, if you have the Mini connected system, also the BMW connected system, you can actually, if you have a Wi-Fi enabled GoPro, you can actually see the GoPro display that what it's filming on your screen in the car for the navigation screen. So you can record and stop and play around with camera angles and adjust everything right from your head unit interface there inside of the car, which is really cool that they're doing this integration. I'm sure that other automakers will follow suit here in the future. Next is Tesla has started to open source all their patents. So all their stuff that they now have, all their patents that are out there, they're making them available to anyone. Because they say that, you know, they were worried that GM or, you know, some of these big car companies would try and copy the Tesla, but they're noticing that no one is really copying the Tesla. People are just still stuck on the combustion engine. He really feels like electricity is the future. So in an effort to just get everyone on board with electricity, he's letting everyone have all of his patents to, you know, do whatever they want. He thinks that the whole electric car will kind of evolve quicker that way if other people are getting involved and things like that. So that's a pretty bold move to make, and so we'll see if it actually pays off and the electric car continues to take off. Next is JD Power and Associates came out with their initial quality report for 2014 as far as, you know, in the first few months of owning a car, what is it like, and, you know, how many problems each person has per vehicle. And so there's this whole list of all the different car companies in the industry average here, and the average is 116 problems per 100 vehicles. It's the average for the industry apparently. And this year, Porsche is leading the pack. They have 74 problems per 100 vehicles. So that's really impressive that Porsche has jumped to the top, because I don't think anyone really thinks Porsche cars are the most reliable, and I mean they're very high quality, but you know, they've had their share of issues in the past, and so that's really exciting to see that they're very high quality. Also, Jaguar is the second highest, so they have 87 problems per 100 vehicles. So and both of those car companies beat out Lexus, Hyundai, Toyota, Chevy, Kia, BMW. I'm going down and down the list here. Honda, Lincoln, Audi, all these really good and reliable cars that now, you know, you can see that Jaguar and Porsche have taken over, and that's really impressive. So good job to them for working their tails off. And for those that were kind of dissing the Mini a few weeks ago for being unreliable, Mini isn't at the very bottom of the list. Fiat is. Fiat has 206 issues per 100 vehicles. So that's like, they have like a 50 problem margin versus Jeep, which is the second lowest at 146 problems per 100 vehicles. So Jeep's not very high quality either. Subaru is actually quite far down the list as well at 138 problems per vehicle. But yeah, Mini's actually better than Subaru right now. So for those of you saying that Cooper was unreliable, could be the case for the generation I have, but for the brand new ones, looks like you'll probably have less problems with that than if you bought a brand new Subaru. So interesting stuff. Very unexpected results from JD Power and Associates this year. Next is some news from Mercedes. Two little reports here from Mercedes. First is there's some details about the new engine that's going to be in the AMG GT, which is their replacement for the SLS. And this engine will probably be in the new C63 AMG that we'll be getting eventually. And they're saying it's going to do 503 horsepower. It's a twin-turbo 4-liter V8 with the turbos in the cylinder banks of the V. So it's a very compact and efficient design. And they already released an audio clip of what it sounds like. It sounds very good. And so yeah, excited to see this full car. They keep teasing bits and pieces. Hopefully we'll see this entire thing here. You know, I think it's going to be in the fall, but hopefully it comes out sooner than that. Next Mercedes thing is they revealed that they updated the CLS. It has some new headlights, a slightly revised fascia. It looks a little more like a CLA and things like that. Still a gorgeous looking car. And yeah, sadly, it has these sweet new LED headlights that we don't get in America because of our dumb laws over headlights. Apparently a headlight has to have a low beam and a high beam, and they have to be separate. With these LED lights, they're all kind of blended together, and it's just a different degree of brightness depending on the circumstances all the time. And that's the issue there. That's why Audi can't bring their laser headlights to us either. So hopefully, you know, we get these laws worked on, but still very cool enhancements for the CLS. And lastly, Bentley has officially released the Bentley GT3 R, which is the most hardcore Continental they've ever made, and you can see it looks a lot more aggressive, and it's a proper performer as well. I mean, it's the weight has dropped 200 pounds over the V8S model, so it's 4,800 pounds, so it's under 5,000, which is an accomplishment for a Bentley. So less than 5,000 pounds, and top speed 170. They said it'll do 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds, and that's going to be a serious performer. So those will be starting to be delivered here at the end of this year, and it'll be exciting to see some of those on the roads. So yeah, that's it for all the news this week, guys, so send it back to me in the car. Alright, so I'm going to be doing a highway merge, since that's what I was talking about here right before I cut to the news, so I'll leave you guys with a nice little acceleration here on the highway this time. I said this thing pulls. It's quick. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Take care.